Welcome to Cardboard Box Games. I'm Adam.
I'm Adam.
I'm Andrew.
We got a new guest today. Our main topic for today is everything about artifacts. Let's get started. Alright, so our first segment for today is going to be Card of the Week. So we're going to start with you, Adam. You want to tell us what your Card of the Week is?
So my card of the week is Iron Obelisk. It's an artifact. So your opponent keys cost +1 for each friendly damaged Bromnar creature.
And it's a Bromnar artifact, right?
It's a Bromnar artifact,
that makes
yes.
sense. Cool. What made you pick that card? What do you like about it?
It saved me in a bunch of tournaments I was in. When my decks weren't that controlling, I could always count on Iron Obelisk to save me. Because I could just run my creatures in at the opponent's creatures, because usually my creatures are higher than everyone else's creatures.
So you'd have to have a lot of creatures to make that work.
Yes.
Does your deck have a lot of creatures with it?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, perfect combo.
So next up is Andrew, who's our guest for the week.
Hello.
What is your card of the week?
I chose Key to Disc. I like this card because you don't even need any. You don't get any chains at all, because when you sacrifice this artifact, you can destroy each creature on the board. Not like the Gateway to Disc, because when you use Gateway to Disc, you have to gain 3 chains. But this, it just takes 2 turns to ready up, and it's Omni, so you can do it with any house. So you can activate it at any time and just destroy everything, which I think is really powerful.
You definitely have blown that up on me a few times, I know.
Yeah.
And that is a Disc artifact with an Omni ability. I think it's super cool because it's just like this scary thing that's sitting out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you let your opponent start playing some creatures, and boom, they all die.
The weakness for this card is pretty much when someone takes control of the artifact and blows it up, and you have a lot of creatures on it. But pretty much,
It has been probably used against you, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but it's a pretty good card in my opinion.
My card of the week is Gauntlet of Command. It's a Bromnar artifact, and it's an item, and it's got the action ready and fight with a friendly creature. This is like an artifact. When I first saw it, I was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Early on, and now I'm like, I actually really love this card because it allows you to use creatures from other houses. It allows you to run, my favorite thing is running Grenade Snib in and making my opponent lose Amber. Like, I really enjoy a Gauntlet of Command deck. So yeah, that's my card of the week. I chose it because this card has also saved me many a times. And when they get stolen from me, I feel really sad about it. All right, so moving into our next topic today. So with Andrew being new, we'll start with him. You want to talk a little bit about your week in KeyForge, and specifically we can talk about the last tournament that you played in.
Sure. The last tournament I played in, I used this deck, the Parent That Flees from Dirt. And that's his deck. It's my card here. And this deck, I got 2nd place on the tournament. I almost won. Yeah.
It is close. And how many chains do you have on this deck now?
I have 5.
5 chains?
Yeah.
You're very close to leveling it up.
Very, yes.
I really want to level it up really bad.
Are you going to take it to the next chain bound event too?
Yeah, probably. It's a really good deck.
And are we planning on going to LA for the Vault?
You mean Atlanta?
Atlanta, I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely be thinking if we go to Atlanta, which we should really try to go
Yeah.
for the Vault Tour, that you take this deck too, because this deck is just extremely strong.
It is.
And I don't think you carry your chains with you in that tournament.
You don't?
I'm pretty sure like the chains are for your local environment or like smaller store environments. I could be wrong.
Hopefully you're right about that.
Because then you can go and like be on a level playing field with other strong decks.
Yeah.
Remember, there are other tournaments that might require.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. So yeah, this deck is. You ended up
I got 1st place.
the one before, but you ended up playing the person who ended up winning, and then you still made top 4. So you lost to that person. You ended at top 4. You won your match in the top 4, and then you went to go play in the finals. And in the finals, you lost to that same person again.
Yeah.
2 pretty close games.
I got closer the 2nd time.
And maybe like just playing it more, maybe you'd end up getting
Closer.
getting closer and closer. I don't know.
The chains hurt me though, but I think I could have won without.
Because he didn't have chains, right?
Yeah, he had no chains.
Well, now he's got some chains.
He got 3.
Yeah. How about you, Adam? How did you do?
In the turn he was talking about, I was in the top 4 and then Andrew defeated me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was winning the whole game, it felt like.
Not for me.
I was-
thought it was funny.
I felt like I was winning the whole game. Like, basically in the first 2 turns, I got my first key. The second turn, I had enough amber to gain my second key. And then I felt like he was always behind since I kept stealing his amber all the time. But then I told him he shouldn't pick this one house, and I lost.
I was gonna pick that house, by the way. I was just messing
Yeah.
with you.
Because he had
Call of the week.
Call of the Week, yeah. And I gave him a tip not to pick Untamed since he had exactly 6 amber. We both had 2 keys. And I had the Ritual of Balance to seal one. I told him not to play Untamed, or pick for me to play Untamed, because I could stop him.
Oh, God.
I told him I had my artifact there, and then he made me choose this. The one house I couldn't stop him with.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And also, I knew that you used most of your disc cards too, and disc has very little cards I can stop in person. So.
Yeah, the control of the week is sometimes really hard. I've had some really fun games of that, where it's like, man, if I pick the right house, I win.
Yeah.
And I've actually got to the point now with control of the week, actually, when I have 2 in my hand, I will actually hold on to the other one, because forcing my opponent to play something on a turn that I need to,
Yeah.
a turn I need to forge or something, like I'm like, oh, I'm going to make you be Untamed, because you can't stop me if I make you be Untamed. I'm not going to let you be Shadow.
That's powerful.
It's incredibly powerful. So the deck I'm playing actually has 3 control of the weeks.
Really?
I'm switching over to a new deck. After the last tournament, I did not do very well.
Yeah, I had like 0-3.
I got paired against the first place person, and man, that game was so close. Like
Yeah, we all lost against that person, too.
yeah, and I almost had it like the entire time. Like, so my deck did do really well. The second deck I played against was a racing deck. So it was a deck that like just gained so much amber. And my deck, that's something my deck's really weak at. Like, I don't have a bait and switch. I don't have the big swings. The only thing I do have is the Evanescence Principle. And he ended up subtle mauling me, which is another artifact, and discarding that from my hand. So he gained a ridiculous amount of amber. I didn't have my big swingy card. So that, like, everything just fell in place. By the time I got to the third game, I'm like, I'm just going to have some fun and, like, play around at this point, because I had no hope. And
Yeah.
it's pretty bad.
Well, at least we got a Maverick. We got 3 decks at the tournament.
Oh, that's right. We bought 3 decks.
And we got a 4 Horseman deck.
Yeah, I opened a 4 Horseman deck. You opened a Maverick.
I did, yes.
Yeah. Was your deck any good that you opened?
It was like a 72.
72?
So the only problem with my Maverick deck is if the opponent has so many creatures and gains so much amber, I just can't stop him at all. My deck is a very slow deck.
My Horseman deck's not that great. Like, it has no control at all. But it's fun to play. Like, I played it in a few multiplayer games and whatnot. It's just really fun to play.
Oh, and my Maverick is an Umbra in the Logos house.
Oh, that's cool. That's right. I remember that now.
Yeah.
So, heading into our main topic, I prepared a few questions that I want to ask you guys, and then I'll answer them as well.
Okay.
So, I just counted your deck, Andrew, and you have 4 artifacts in here.
Yeah.
When you open a deck, is there a number of artifacts that you look for in a deck, or do you really not pay attention to that?
I pay close attention. Artifacts are really powerful with a deck because with like artifacts can help you a lot. Like you could have like I said, Key of Dix or like the other artifact that makes keys +3 that could really help you. And I think artifacts are play a big part for a deck because without them, like there's an artifact in this deck. You it's for Shadow. You use it, and then your opponent has to discard a random card in their hand.
And that card's stronger than people think. Subtle Maul is the name of that one.
It is so powerful. It saved me so many times. Like I got when I was trying to go for first place, I got rid of his bait and switch. And I was like, yes. I think he had bait and switch. I know I got rid of one of his strongest cards.
He did have bait and switch because he ended
Yeah.
up archiving it against me, and he went through his entire deck. I'm like, yes, no bait and switch in this deck. Also, we went in like playing blind. We didn't want to look at each other's decks just to have fun.
Yeah.
That's what he did with me, and he thought I had a key charge. So then he just sat there for the longest of time thinking of how he can stop me from forging a key because he thought I had a key charge. And I'm like, I don't have a key charge, by the way. He's like, wait, what? You don't?
I told him that.
I've been sitting here this whole time thinking about that. I'm like, oh, sorry.
You shouldn't have told him that.
So, how about you, Adam? How many, when you open up a deck, I guess when you open up a deck, do you look for a certain number of artifacts to be in your deck?
I do look for a certain number of artifacts. I usually look for around 4 to 5-ish artifacts. I usually like having artifacts, but at times they're hard to play. I feel like the only good time to play them is if your opponent's having a rough turn or if you're going first.
Because, I mean, they don't do anything when you first play them a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my next question, and I guess where I'm at is kind of with you guys. I don't want a whole lot of artifacts, but I want the strong ones.
Yes.
So I think like 3-ish artifacts that are just super strong, like Lash of Broken Dreams, the +3 key. What is that other one? I'm looking at yours because you have both of these, and this is what I love about this deck. He has Ritual of Balance, which is the untamed artifact where you can steal one.
That's powerful.
So if you look at Andrew's deck, he has ways to control Amber in every house, and that is like my dream deck. So this deck is absolutely amazing. So I guess my next question for you guys is like, if you opened a deck with like 10 artifacts, what would be your thought?
Right away I probably think it's a bad deck, but it does depend on what artifacts they are, because there's some artifacts that I really like. If your opponent plays an artifact, they have to pay you. If your opponent uses an artifact, they have to pay you. And there's lots of cool artifacts like that. But I feel like if it's like an artifact that's just deals 1 damage to each creature once it comes into battle, I feel like that would be bad.
That'd be a bad one.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Andrew?
So the new deck that I got, it has a card that how many artifacts you play, that's how much Amber you steal from your opponent. And my deck only has 3 artifacts, so...
You would have liked to have more of a deck like that.
Yeah, I would like at least...
Especially if that's the way the deck actually worked.
You know, like, for Shadow, I would like, they gave me 3 of that one artifact that does 1 damage, and then if it's destroyed...
Secret Needle?
Yeah. And I was like, just 3 with that? That's like the only combo in the deck. So if it's like a combo with like that card that like steal 1 for every artifact you play... Then you would like 10 to 12 artifacts. But I want like really strong artifacts. And also if you have more artifacts, then your opponent can just steal 1. But if you have copies of that artifact, you can just pretty much just rule the board.
So I'm like, if I opened a deck, and I've actually opened decks with like 3 Hallowed Blasters. I think that's what it's called. It's a Sanctum artifact that heals 3.
Oh, really?
And like, that just seems incredibly weak to me. Because first off, if you're playing a card, it does nothing. And you may be able to heal 3 damage in the turn. And I've found that healing is pretty...
useless.
I mean, it's like one of the weaker things, right? I mean, sometimes it's nice to heal a creature, but having 3 of them in play, a lot of times I don't even have enough things to heal for 1, more or less 3 of them.
Yeah.
Makes sense, yeah.
So it really does depend on the... Like, if I opened up the Parent Who Flees from Dirt... And I had the 4 artifacts that this deck has, which is Lash of Broken Dreams. That is like an amazing artifact to me. Even when because my deck that I'm playing now has that. And when my opponent like gains a ridiculous amount of Amber, I will still be able to go dis and make them pay 9.
Yeah.
Because that at least like doesn't let them forge and then have a ton of more Amber the next turn.
Yeah.
I do not have Ritual Balance like this deck has, which is in Untamed a way to steal 1. So here's the thing, like using Control of the Weak on this deck is like every house has a way to stop you. And then the next one is Subtle Maul, which is I think is really good. Because you can hit a person's hand and like take away key cards. Like
Yeah.
And you can also throw away junk, but at the same time it's an artifact that if you can play early and pull out 3 or 4 cards from their hand, it's already earned its value at the second card. That's at least the way I like to look at it.
I would always pull out Bad Penny when I used it too.
Yeah.
Remember when,
you have hit a lot of bad pennies with that card, and which is
It's
the
how you
bad
get rid
way.
of them. It's how you get rid of them, though.
Yeah.
If they have the combo of
With
Secret
Secret Needle and Penny, then like you pretty much.
That's true, because you were doing that one time, and he took it away from you.
It's like,
I had 2 of them though in my hand.
That's true.
oh, got rid of 1 amber from you, then I guess.
So you had a high chance of like hitting that regardless.
Yeah.
So I guess my next question I have is like, what is the ideal time to play an artifact? Like if you could pick any time in the game, especially maybe a deck like this where you have 4 artifacts. Let's say in your opening hand, you've got no artifacts or you have some artifacts. Like what is your preference, Andrew? Like when do you want to play your artifacts?
I want to play my artifacts as quick as I possibly can in the game because you never know what situation you would be. Because if your opponent has 6 or amber, you can just do that 1 artifact, steal 1, stop them. And there's like Shadow, if your opponent has like strong cards in his hand, you can just get rid of his cards too. And if he has like 20 creatures on the board, you can just destroy them. Because also, you could steal 1, of course, but still you'd have 3 more artifacts on their side.
How about you, Adam?
So for me, the time where I like to play artifacts is when I'm super far ahead and the opponent's like behind on like creatures and stuff. Or when I start off first in the game. Or like the second turn of the game even.
Yeah.
Somewhere early in the game, or like when you're, because like I would tell you, I agree with both you guys. I feel like if you play an artifact, like say you draw an artifact late in the game and you're already behind, it feels painful.
It does.
It does, yes.
Sometimes I just discard it, depending on how good it is.
Yeah, it depends on what the artifact is, right? For that.
You should discard your heals and your Sanctum deck.
Yeah.
Just discard every single Sanctum card you get.
The problem is I don't want to draw it again, so I just want to get it on the board, so I don't have to. That's another factor, actually. So I guess the way I look at it is, in a deck, I've actually been thinking a lot about that. I don't know if this is true, right, or not. Mm-hmm. But ideally, I think I want to get a game plan for my deck. Mm-hmm. And a deck like this, for example, playing Lash of Broken Dreams on turn 1 can make the game just amazingly in your favor all the way through. If it doesn't get destroyed or stolen, which is pretty rare. I mean, it does happen, but rare-ish. Yeah. Or even getting like a subtle maul or a ritual balance and play early. So have you ever found yourself mulliganing because you were afraid that you didn't have any artifacts in your hand and you were going to draw them later? Or do you think about that when you play?
I did that once. Because my hand was bad, and also I really wanted Blast of Broken Dreams because I know my opponent can make so much amber. I did it, but I didn't get it, but I got a better hand. So.
But it is an interesting thing to think about. It's like, is that something that we should evaluate in, our opening hands? How about you, Adam? Have you thought about that at all?
I haven't actually thought about that.
Yeah, I wonder. I've actually thought about that quite a bit because I'm thinking, and I have been experimenting with both. Like, should I mulligan and try to get my opening artifacts, or should I not? Because I mean, this is a small deck overall.
Yeah.
You have a decent chance of getting it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the answer is, but I will tell you, I have pulled like Lash of Broken Dreams late in the game before, and been behind already, and I'm like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like this. I wish this came into play untapped because there is a cost to a card not doing anything when you play it, and artifacts are one of those cards. So I think the next thing that we want to talk about is like how good overall do you think, or I mean, how much of an impact do you think overall? Like, how good do you think artifacts actually are? Like, how good are artifacts anyway? Are they?
I think artifacts are pretty good. I mean, if we're just talking about the common ones, I feel like they're pretty good. I mean, every artifact changes the board in a way, I believe. Because one game, I told you, I played an artifact that whenever your opponent plays an artifact, they had to pay me one. And once I played it, they're like, oh man, darn, I should play my artifact last turn.
I really hate that card, by the way. Good. It's 1 amber, and I've paid so many amber just to play stuff with that card.
Yeah.
I've also discarded a lot of artifacts. I love the point of it changing the game. What do you think about that, Andrew?
I mean, I think, yeah, I agree with Am. Every artifact does change, but it depends how good the artifact is to make an impact, because it gotta make a big enough impact for the board.
You're right. Because I mean, there are artifacts that don't do much of anything.
Yeah.
I feel like Ritual of Balance doesn't do that much until the opponent gets lots of amber.
I actually love Ritual of Balance
I do.
because it's like this safety crutch. I don't know.
You safely steal something and back.
But again, getting it late,
Could hurt you.
it's painful because
Yeah.
you open it, you draw it, and you're like, oh, it doesn't do anything.
But I feel like early game could also be that too, depending on how slow the opponent's deck is.
I
you know?
usually get that artifact more at the beginning of the game. Luckily.
Yeah, it really is timing wise, I think. I'm trying to think of a reason why I would ever discard an artifact. There's one case, and I've actually got one artifact on the deck I play where, like, if a creature enters the discard pile from play,
It gets purged.
It gets purged. That card is hilarious because a lot of times I'll play that early in the game,
Yeah.
and by the end, we're through our decks. My opponent has 12 purge cards. I have 12 purge cards, and like we're just going through again. And my hope is, I guess, maybe their creatures were better than mine, and that like now we're on equal footing. I really don't know, but I've decided like a few times, like where my board was amazing and theirs wasn't. I'm like, I think I'm just gonna discard this, even though it gives you an amber for playing it. But again, I haven't figured out if that's correct or not, because there are times that I want to redraw my creatures and I don't want them purged. So it's
That artifact would work really well with a deck that has like so much raw amber with it.
that would, because then you just get rid of the creature, especially if you've got board control.
Yeah. If you have like a Key of Discs and then play the card, and there's like everybody played every creature on the board.
Yeah.
Everything's purged. Your deck just gains so much amber, and then you just win.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I think my deck does do a decent job at that. I don't think it has as much amber as like this deck, for example.
16 raw amber.
Yeah, 16 raw amber is pretty high.
It is, yeah.
And what I love about this deck that you've got is the AERC rating is like 70-ish.
71.
And there's not many decks that I've seen that are that high. The deck I'm playing is like a 57.
And in the deck I'm playing, it's like a 65, I think.
The
Yeah.
highest deck they've seen is 74.5. So.
Yeah. This has got an insane AERC rating, really good SAS rating. Like, I actually do think this is our best deck that we have in this house right now. Like,
Yeah.
unless we figure out, and we can take games off of it. I have beat you with it, but consistently this deck will win. Like, if we go up against each other 5 times, this deck will win
Like 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 times.
Yeah.
And also you understand how to play this deck because you've played so many games with it now, which is important.
I figured out a couple combos with it too, as well, because it has a card that brings back every creature one house.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would just bring back mostly my Shadow back, or my Untamed, because then I have Hunting Witch.
You do.
Witch
Yeah.
of Eye. Place it down.
Hunting Witch, yeah.
Bam, 5 amber, and most of my other Untamed cards are like just raw amber for free. So I had like these. I had 8 cards of just Untamed. I went against you, and it's like.
The other thing I'm looking at in this deck is you have 4 disc creatures. You have 1, 2, 3, 5 shadow creatures. That's 9. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4 untamed creatures. So you only have 13 creatures in this deck. Which is another thing that has led me to think you have 13 creatures, 4 artifacts, a lot of actions.
18.
So whatever the remaining is in actions. I don't see any upgrades, but I could be just missing it. Do you have any upgrades you remember? Okay.
No, not that I know of.
So the other interesting thing I think
I
is,
feel like its weakness is a very heavy board.
except he's got board control with the artifact that blows everything up.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know what the weakness is of this deck. It doesn't have
Bait and
switch.
That's one of my.
So it would struggle with like a racing deck that just gains a bunch of amber. He does have 2 succubuses though. So that kind of like limits their
I
cards.
have Chariot. So.
Charette, yeah, which captures 3. You've got 2 urchins. You've got 2 relentless whispers. So you can like
I can
steal
steal, yeah.
steal a bunch. But yeah, maybe the weakness of this deck really is like the just gaining a ton of amber. So thinking about artifacts a little bit more, the other thing that I guess I was thinking about with artifacts is like, how important do you think artifact destruction is in a deck? And maybe destruction is the wrong word. So it could be like stealing it, or it could be using it and blowing it up. Or do you guys remember that card Nexus? There's a shadow creature that just reaps and let you use your opponent's artifact. I've got an opinion on this. I'm curious what you're thinking. Maybe we'll start with...
you can start first.
So, yeah. So I think it's very strong when your opponent has artifacts. So like against this deck here, the Parent that Flees from Dirt, I think it's actually really incredible because stealing with Snecklifter is great. There's a disc card that lets you use and blow up an artifact, which is also really great. And the final thing is like the weakest of them, in my opinion, is just Nexus. But honestly, I've loved using Nexus a lot more now.
I do, yeah.
And I think I undervalued his reap ability to start with. And I've actually gone to the point where now I'm evaluating, like, based on what my opponent can do, if I reap and use their artifact, what board state does that put me in going into next turn? So I think it's incredibly powerful, but I will say I've made several mistakes of holding on to Snecklifter for way too long, and my opponent never actually had an artifact in their deck. So, I mean, in an actual Chainbound tournament, we should be able to look and see that type of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of times when we play in our local, we just play blind to see what it's like, and so I think if I were playing by the way that I would be like, all right, Snecklifter does not going to matter in this game. Boop, he's out. You know what I mean? As soon as I get him.
Yeah.
And I would also pay attention to like if he could steal my artifacts, because I might want to steal them back. So I think if you know what's in your opponent's deck and you play accordingly, it's awesome. But I also think they can burn you because the cards in and of themselves are fairly weak if you don't get that use out of them. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I agree.
I agree. Yeah.
I've stolen lots of artifacts from both of you.
You have.
Does that feel pretty painful?
It hurts.
It hurts extremely bad for a Ponderous Duelist because the Ritual of Balance he stole was horrible, and the Dominator Bauble was also horrible, and I believe there's one other artifact, but all those artifacts helped me so much, and you stealing them just doesn't. This just hurts so much.
You stole my key to Dix, activated it, and killed everything on the board while I had to die.
I have done that too, yeah.
Which is painful.
I'm like, hey, I'm going to steal that and I'm going to blow everything up. That's the other cool thing is when I steal artifacts, they come in, they're ready for me, so I can use them right away. I've also stolen the Nepenthe Seeds, which is like return a card from my graveyard. So they play their Nepenthe Seed, and I'm like, that's probably a library access combo. And I'm like, all right, Snecklifter, steal that, use it, I'm bringing back something cool from my graveyard. Now you can't infinite combo me.
Boom.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Oh, there's one other note that we have up on our board. Do we do anything special to play against artifacts? Like if you see a Lash of Broken Dreams or you see a Subtle Maul, does that change the way you play the game at all?
It does, because if the opponent has Lash of Broken Dreams, I try to do everything possible to make this the weakest house for them. I try to gain so much amber on my turn and destroy all their disc creatures on the board, so then they don't gain really that much from picking discs.
So when they pick this, it's like going to be a bad play. That's a really good.
What if they had no creatures on the board? How would you weaken their discs?
So you probably wouldn't do much at that point, right? Because they're already pretty weak.
At that point, I probably would just gain a bunch of amber, maybe, and then just play a bunch of creatures and try.
You have the shark.
Get a huge.
You have the shark guy.
The Neutron Shark.
Yeah, you can just destroy that artifact easily. And then
Neutron Shark is a card where when you play it, you kill one of their creatures or artifacts, and then you kill one of your own creatures or artifacts, and you can kill Neutron Shark with it too.
So you can like just end it by killing Neutron Shark.
Yeah, but if you do not decide to kill Neutron Shark, you flip a card, and if it's not of the active house, you do it again, and again, and again.
It is a good card to blow up artifact. I didn't even think
It's
about
a
that.
good
That is
board wipe.
awesome.
Yeah.
It can be a decent board wipe, but when there's a super nasty artifact that you want to get rid of, that's a perfect card to do it. Because you just like blow that up, Neutron Shark dies. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
it's not that bad.
You can just destroy any artifact.
And it's its play, reap, and fight ability too.
Yeah, that's amazing. So how about you, Andrew? Do you change the way you play the game at all when you?
For sure. Like, when I would go against like you or Adam, like I would see you guys have like those powerful artifacts. I forgot which artifacts they are, and I was gonna play this one hand, this one,
What house?
yeah, whatever house. It made me change my mind to like this 2-card house because it do more for me. Because your artifact, I think it would like stop me from doing whatever. I forgot what it is.
It changed the game enough to where you had to consider what that artifact would do to be able to make a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of times, sometimes it's easy to forget about the artifacts because they're in the
is.
back line. So I've definitely been like, I think I'm gonna win. Oh crud! I forgot they had whatever card. You know?
Yeah.
Well, I have a question. Do you think it would be easier just to face all of your cards if you know your deck really well to your opponent so they can see all your cards?
I've seen people do that.
I have.
I feel weird doing that, so I don't like doing that. But because I mean, I feel like if they want to see what a card does, just ask me and I'll let them read it. But oh, I remember what I forgot now. Safe place.
Oh,
So I'm like, oh, I got my opponent back down to 5 amber. I'm gonna. Oh shoot, they got an amber on safe place. I lose.
Yeah, I played against them too. I played against them too at the last tournament. I won pretty easily
That's awesome.
against him.
But that safe place actually got me.
So I believe Safe Place is the card where you can store your amber on the artifact and keep it safe there.
Yep.
So then if the opponent tries to steal amber from you, it can't take amber away from the safe place.
So you're gonna stick all your amber on it?
One at a time because its action is like move 1 amber to it, and it's actually easy to forget that they have that there.
It is.
And then they'll go to Forge and they're like, I'm like, oh shoot, they can, because you can use that amber as if it was like in your.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But stealing it with Snack Lifter would be so much fun. Like Snack
It
Lifter,
would be.
give me all it because the amber comes with it.
It does?
Yeah.
Oh, so you
I didn't know that.
Oh my god. So you
Yeah,
just get
so
to
it
have
stays at
amber
the- it'll be
in
awesome.
that artifact. Awesome.
Did you do that against him?
I've never been able to like time it where I actually got it, but I could just imagine that happening. It would be so much fun.
Yeah.
So going forward, we don't really have a lot of tournaments and things coming up for the next couple of weeks, right?
We do not.
I think it's,
Maybe one
I'm
tournament?
trying to think, 2 weekends from now there's another Chainbound event that we'll go to.
Yeah.
The turnout's actually been a little bit lower. Like this last one had 8 and the one before that had 5.
Yeah, the Archon tournaments are not that popular.
Yeah, maybe they'll do a sealed at some point. I want them to do more, and I want more people to come to the Archon tournaments.
Yeah.
Because I really want to try. But in the meantime, I've been playing a lot on the Crucible when I have time, and I've been doing really well with the new deck that I'm. It's a deck I've had for a while, but a deck that I'm thinking about trying to level up. And I guess the end of May, we're looking to go to Atlanta, so hopefully we can make
For
that
the
happen.
Vault
For the Vault Tour.
Tour thing, yeah.
It'd be really nice to get a bunch of amber shards before that. I wanted to get 70 because 70 is how you
yeah.
get the metal keys, but I think that's at least what somebody told me.
I
But
think I have 39
you have 39? That's amazing.
amber.
That's crazy.
I think
I don't have that much. I have like maybe 29 or something. All right. I think that'll wrap us up unless you guys have anything else.
Not really.
No, I think that's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Till next time, you guys keep gaming and see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.